Hal here with more space engineers. Yay! Alright, so I have made a few decisions. I've made some decisions, made some changes. This is being recorded on Monday at around 1 p.m. my time. So the Monday's video has only been out for a little while at this point. It's a couple of hours. So I wanted to show you what some of the things are that we're doing here, right? Okay, so right off the bat, you can notice things are sealed up a little bit more than they were. I actually need to make some changes in here, at least for the way the O2 systems are set up. We've gone ahead and put in a set of stairs up here, and we'll come back to this in a moment, but I want to show you what I'm thinking is where we'll basically end up with a upper layer that's up here. Now, the reason for this is because I'm thinking of actually flipping the orientation of the ship. Meaning this area that we were originally considering to be the forward section is actually going to be aft. And this end will be the forward section. Now, there's a couple of different reasons for this. For those who have seen Monday's video, you'll understand where I'm getting ready to say here. For those who haven't, go check out Monday's video. You think I'm going to tell you everything? No, I'm just kidding. So basically, we're trying to figure out how we want to do the doors for getting into and out of the hangar space. Now, one of the things that we did on Monday's video is that for those who have checked in earlier and haven't really been following along all that much, there used to be just this one line. This was the center line of the ship. And when we were placing things, we found that the doors, because we're planning on using the large gates for our hangar doors, because of the way that worked out, they don't do well on an odd number of blocks, because we want to the orientation that we want to use them in is better set to an even number. So what that means is I had to widen the entire ship by 1 block, which is what this second line is. So everything has moved. Actually, I haven't even updated the paint in here yet. But yeah, so you can see you basically moved everything from this area over 1 block. So I had to cut out things that were here and then just basically reproduce what used to be here 1 block over. So it is all lining up now. We actually have done all sorts of stuff. And I'll walk you through some of the things we've got going on down there in a second. But this does mean that the area that's being designated as the hangar space currently is now 1 block wider. Doesn't seem like much, but it does add quite a bit of room given the size and shape of this place already. So yeah. But I'm happy with the way that it came out. It balanced out very nicely and made making things uniform a little bit easier. Okay, so let's talk about updates to the ship. So the stairs, we were, again, for people who haven't been following along or if you're new to what's going on here, basically we had these big open areas and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with them. So what I have done is I've started making these into small compartments. In fact, you need to come out of there. Thank you. And what we're going to do is I'm going to probably end up putting our programming blocks in here, because the small grid programming blocks look like small data terminals. And so what I want to do is have these set up to be not necessarily computer rooms, but you know how you have the IT cabinets? Like if depending on your company that you work for or own, you're gonna have closets where you have like IT hub stuff, and that's basically what I'm thinking of doing here. Is we'll set these up as IT hubs, and we'll have the same thing on this side, So that'll give us a lot of programming blocks that we'll be able to run. And we're probably going to need it. Or we also have the option of putting in the shield controllers because we do have the shield mod enabled now. Which is nice because that means we can make this thing a little bit more durable without having to do 2 or 3 layers of heavy armor or various armor blocks. So we'll see how that all works out. Alright, so let's head back downstairs for a second. To show you, we still don't have gravity in here. Now, I did go ahead and start piping in some of the oxygen systems. So as you can see, we have 2 vents here. If I close all the doors and block this off, this room will pressurize. So that's a good thing because that means I just need to put a door on here and we can start closing the ship in. Now, this does bring us out into this area, which I think I'm going to do 2 more batteries up here. Excuse me, hiccups. So yeah, but I was saying, I think I'm gonna do 2 more batteries up here, just to give us a little bit more space in this. And if we do that, I'm thinking we do something like this. So that way, when we have the batteries in, we should be able to see their charge indicators. Now, actually, I am curious if we do, can I actually have these set up? I mean, I guess I could flip them. Yeah, so that'll work. That'll work nicely, actually. So we'll end up with 4 more batteries on both sides. That'll give us 16 batteries in total, because we've got this mirrored over on the other side. And in fact, while we are here, I did right up against it. Okay. So that means we want you to come out like so. And then you guys are going to be like this. There you go. Alright, and then we'll duplicate what we have on the other side over here, so we'll have that second stairway sweeping up as well. Okay, so let's talk about this area. As you can tell, sorry about that. We have our desk in that I was talking about. We have put in some corner lights. Here, we'll turn this off so it's not quite so bright in here. So we have the corner lights over the door. We have some corner lights embedded into the walls here, and then I actually tucked a corner light in under the survival kit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a switch in here. I'm going to put a button in that will turn off all of these lights except for the one down there, so that, you know, when we're in low power mode, you'll still have some light in the ship. Just not necessarily, you know, overly blinding light like you have right now. But we are able to get in and pull a charge, so I don't have to go running all the way back in. We do have an O2 generator on board now, which is tied to our survival kit. I felt that was kind of appropriate. And then what we did with the survival kit is we've gone ahead and patched it in on both ends, so that, you know, the O2 generator is hopefully going to spit out oxygen once we have some ice in it. Actually, I should check that. Let's go grab a little bit of ice. I don't need much, just a little bit. Let's grab, almost exactly what I wanted, believe it or not. I was only thinking maybe 100 units, but that'll work. Okay, so now the question is, can I can. Ha ha ha, okay. Alright, so it is working. Perfect. We now have, we can actually close this area off to recharge oxygen. And I mean, technically hydrogen too, as long as I keep ice in there. Okay, but that's what I wanted to check. I just wanted to make sure that that was working. So what we did is, this is the small grid equivalent on the conveyor vent, the conveyor junction vent that we've been using. And then we have a regular conveyor junction here with a regular vanilla vent on the other side. Now the reason I did this is because I don't want to upload this and then have people who don't necessarily like the conveyor vents having to use them. So worst case scenario, you just put a conveyor junction in and then slap another vent on the face of it. And then there's enough room in here that if you wanted to, you could actually have a layer over it to bluff everything out. So you could, if you wanted to have half blocks in here or something, just to make that wall a little thicker and hide the conveyor, you're able to do that. Okay, so now let's talk about what we've got going on at the entrance areas. So we have the ramps and we have lighting in here. So what I am planning here is, and I'm going to ask for feedback on this, and I don't know which way I like better, because both ways work, but I think I may need to throw a gravity generator on board the ship just to see how it's going to work long term. But what we've got is a small ramp area that leads up to the half step that brings you up to the platform, and then you have a door which opens into the ship itself. When the ramp is closed and this door is closed, this area holds an atmosphere, right? It is an atmospheric envelope in here. One of the things that I've been talking about doing is running a vent in here so that we could do pressurize, depressurize in this space, so that we don't, vent it to, like, if this door gets left open, we don't want that to be an issue. So, you close the door, close the ramp, pressurize it, and open the door. Now, what we could do is use the corner block for the rotary doors. And then it doesn't become, then you don't have to worry about this thing depressurizing. Like if the ramp gets left open, you can leave the ramp open to get and still get into the ship without depressurizing the ship. Now the problem that we have with this is that that block is rather large. So you end up with this situation. And the problem is, let's turn that on, is that because of the collision box for the entry ramp, that's as low as we can get the step. So it's a half step up into a 45, which gets us here. Now it works without gravity being in the mix. I haven't made a gravity generator yet. Actually, do I have the parts to make a gravity generator? Let's see how. Let's get conveyor vent out. See, and this thing is massive because it is not. It's not cheating in its size. Unfortunately, it would be nice if I could sink that down, but that floor is the roof. I wasn't able to double it. Well, actually, no, it should be. Since we've gone ahead and put all that stuff in, we might be able to sink this down a block. Because if we sink this down a block, right? If we sink it down a block, it only has to go. We'll only have to clear one block. Nope. I was afraid of that. Okay. So yeah, okay, that means we're gonna have to figure out someplace else for it. Now I could, because we're gonna end up with things hanging down below the ship anyway. We could put the generator under the ship, but I'm kind of tempted that if we're going to do that, almost want to put it like in the ceiling right here. Which are only 1 block thick, which is a problem. I mean, I could put it in the hangar, because that's gonna, the hangar's gonna come up to probably this area. Maybe we'll do that. What I'm thinking is let me find center line here. Okay, so you're the center line. Let's, that way we know where our center is. All right. And so what I'm thinking is maybe we do something like, I don't remember how big this thing is, if it's 5 blocks or 4 blocks. Yeah. It's rather chunky. That's 5 by 5, huh? Which is fine. I don't mind if it's 1 block off. And we're going to end up with something that's something a little like this. And just so you know, I am expecting this area to be doubled up. So like I said, this is going to be our platform area, and I'm expecting this to come up a little bit. So it's not a huge issue. We need this one maybe. I could swear there was a, yeah, there it is. That's what I was looking for. It's really annoying that some of these blocks are on different menus and some of them aren't. Okay. And so what I was saying is that I'm expecting this whole thing to come up a block. So this will actually attach into there. So from here it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Wow, that 1 block really makes it look odd, doesn't it? So what we need is KSH to actually go through and normalize things for small block builds. Oh, it would be nice to have an option of this gravity generator that was a 4x4 small grid. I mean, what we could do is, if we really wanted to, there is a mod that will turn the large blocks into small blocks, not just make them small grid compatible. So, yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. It works. That's what matters. Okay. Now, I did have somebody ask me about the super gridding stuff. We talked about this before. And, you know, does this count as a super grid? No, this does not count as super gridding. Because what happens is that this is an item, this item, while it is large, is only small block compatible. If I wanted to use this on a large grid, I'd have to use the large grid version of the same block. Super gridding removes that distinction. So what would happen is that if this was super gridded, I could put a large grid block on one side and a small grid block on another side, and basically allow me to mix grid types in situations where grid types should not be mixed. So normally you'd have to use a rotor for that, where you'd have a large grid rotor with a small grid rotor head on it. and then you have, you know, two separate grids that are joined at the rotor. In super gridding, it's all one grid. It's not a hybrid grid like that. And so that's why this mod is so important, just because it allows me to have large blocks without super gridding the block. So anyway, that's, yeah, hopefully that gives a better idea for the folks that were asking about that. All right, so let's talk about what we've got going on down here now. So if you remember the other day we were talking, so we actually have a cabin space in here, and this is what the size of it's going to look like. Given with what we have available, this is actually a fairly good size for habitation purposes. One of the things that I am thinking about doing, though, is moving this door over to here, and then in the walls separating the two primary cabins, we'll put the facility stuff in a bathroom or toilet and shower, specifically on the as the wall separators. Because let's go here, and here's the battery for now.
Energy low.
There. Because as you can see, these things are pretty hefty. I mean, they're not a small block. Actually, it's not going to be wide enough for that. So yeah, we're going to have to use the other. We're going to have to use the other block mod then. All right. That doesn't matter at all then. Okay. Good to know. Then I don't need to worry about it, because those blocks are too big. So there is a, I'm trying to remember who did it. It's such an old block set now. I don't remember who made it. Maybe Shastel who did it, who is unfortunately no longer modding, specifically in Space Engineers, but yeah. So yeah, anyway, we'll start working on all of that. We'll get the other block mod in. I need to get the rest of the walls in on the habitation area. And then what I'm thinking here is, instead of having a third hab space, in order to maybe bluff this out a little bit, is carry this line forward out here somewhere. I don't know exactly where. We'd have it staggered, so that I could get thrusters in here probably. But I'm thinking, you know, something like this, maybe out to here. And then this would come out. The ship will come out tomorrow. Anyway. Sorry. Alright. So then this ends up becoming a room. F5.
Energy critical.
I love how it doesn't, like, when you're trying to place blocks, it'll change its, you know, where it's looking. But when you're not trying to place blocks, you can't get the damn thing to move. Alright. And what I'll do is I'll come back and I'll weld all of this up off camera, so that when we come back next time, you'll be able to see a little bit more of what I'm talking about. Hopefully. Like I said, I know a lot of people don't enjoy looking at the wireframe all the time, so, you know, I do try to mix it a little bit better. But anyway, so the idea is that these two spaces on both sides become our actual engineering area. So we'll have our reactors, maybe like reactor control stuff in here. And then say like batteries or something, and then this this section. Oh, come on, really? I thought I had more time than that. Come on. So that the section that's furthest from where we are right now will have, say, our batteries and things like that in it. The section forward of that will have reactors in it. And then I'm trying to think if maybe, because we'll do like the common areas behind the bridge, basically behind where we're sitting. And then we'll have food and everything will be up there. That'll be the cafe too, like the cafe mess hall area directly behind us. That off of the forward hall. Well, it's currently the forward hallway. That'll be where we'll have all of the facilities for like showers and toilets. And then obviously we'll have thrusters on the exterior portion there. Okay. There you go. Let's walk through this so that you can see what I'm talking about. So what I'm thinking is this will actually be the hallway. This hallway here, or this portion, will be the crew facilities. So we'll have a couple of showers on one side, a couple of toilets on the other side. And then the roof of that will extend this floor area out. And then this will be basically where we'll have like the mess hall kind of thing, where we'll have, you know, table for everybody to sit around, and we'll have probably a couple of vending machines, kitchen blocks, that kind of stuff. And then we'll have the 2 stairs going up. And I'm thinking you guys are going to come back to here, maybe? Okay, so you are 1 block over from the support. Oh, is that right? So I guess technically you're 2 blocks over from the support. Okay, so that's going to come out this way. And that means... there. Okay. Yeah, no, I'll come back and patch all this in. Don't worry. Since Bob's welding it up for us, it'll make it a little easier. And if I don't like how far back this goes, I can always move it. So, see, this is the biggest benefit of working with the Small Ships Gone Large, is that when you're building with the small blocks, yeah, it's a little bit more tedious because you're placing, you know, like 9 times the blocks. But you have such a level of control over the detail work, is that, to me at least, it makes it worth it. I mean, you can get some really ornate detailing in on these things. Alright, so let's get a few more of these in. This is one of the few times that I actually use Bob quite so heavily in the build process, just because it is so much just like, these things are, it's only 1 plate to weld, so the plate you use to place it is the plate you use to build it. And so that makes it, you know, not bad. Okay, I'm liking the way that that came out for the most part. I do wish that was only... I do wish that was an even number of blocks. I don't care if it was bigger, but... Alright, and so you'll walk through here. That comes down. I actually may bring this back a little bit further. I don't know yet. Alright. And you are there, yes, yes. Okay, and you are... There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4? Did I do 4 wide on those? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. I sure did. Okay. And oh, I didn't move that over yet. Yeah, that actually has to move over one. Okay. That's why it was irritating me a little bit. And there. And you should match up. You do. That is awesome. And this is basically what I do when I have to make side changes. Okay, so you are actually going to come out there then. Alright. And then that can... all this can come out. We'll go ahead and pick all of this up really quick. Just because we can. And like I said, this is probably going to end up being a little bit taller because of all of the changes, which is fine. Because what we're going to end up with is... I'm thinking... let's do... okay, so that's the center, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And we're just marking some space out here. So what I'm thinking is for this area, we'll end up with this being a bit of a raised platform. Let's do it. Crud. Do it from this angle, see if that's any better. So basically you have a small step up. One, two, three, four, five. Get all this piped in. There you go. And this is where the actual bridge is going to be. Well, I should say this is where the flight controls are actually going to be. We'll have piloting station up here. There we go. And that gives us an idea of where the actual roof of the hangar is going to be. Which means we're going to have a huge amount of space down here. And you are still being used for measurements, but I don't think I actually need that anymore. I think we can get rid of the measuring rod. Because this whole thing has to move over anyway, so I think we can get rid of the measuring rod. Alright, so I think this is going to do it for us for today. I want to thank you all for stopping in. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, you know the routine. Let's get one more out of there. And then, like I said, this is going to come over one. So we do this to there. Yeah. Alright, and then that gives us basically where we need to go with it. So yes, this is going to be a fairly hefty sized hangar. I can get a small, large grid in here, or, you know, a rather massive small grid. I mean, this thing's going to be big enough that I could put a small ship gone large inside my small ship gone large. Small shipception. Oh, no. I don't think I'm going to build another large small ship like this for a while, but you know, you never know. We might do something just because it's fun. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for us today. Like I said, I want to thank you all for stopping in. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you. For the folks who have had questions, hopefully I answered them. And for the folks who I didn't answer your questions, there's a comment section down below. Feel free to throw those down there, and I will do my best to answer them in the near future. On that note, I am going to get out of here. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Enjoy the rest of this week, and we will see you back here on Friday for more Space Engineers. As always, folks, take care and be safe out there, everybody. Okay, so we do that, and then if we have you guys, oh, hello. You guys are going to go that way. Don't know exactly where our center line is on this, but it's going to end up being something like that. So if we go there. I was pretty damn close, actually. I was only off by a block. Alright, and like that. And that means we have all that space to fly through. Which means I have to drop that down a little bit. That's going to come down, I don't know, 4 blocks, maybe 5 blocks. Alright. Let's get this out.
No
Oh,
energy.
crap.